Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaintla Pravishtam Shnupa Paramahamsa Totara Sata Shashimadas Deva Igreja Sri Bhakti Vedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jaintla Pravishtam Shnupa Paramahamsa Totara Sata Shashimadas Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prabhupada Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Maharani ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Hare Nam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayamudiraye Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th Canto, Chapter 17, Mother Parvati courses Chitraketu, Text 21. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ekasrijati Bhutani Bhagavan Atma Mayaya. Shambandham cha moksham cha Sukam dukam cha nishkalaha Ekasrijati bhutani Bhagavanatma mayaya Shambandham cha moksham cha Sukam dukam cha nishkalaha Ekasrijati bhutani Bhagavanatma mayaya Shambandham cha moksham cha Sukam dukam cha nishkalaha Ekasrijati bhutani Bhagavanatma mayaya Shambandham cha moksham cha Sukam dukam cha nishkalaha Ekasrijati bhutani Bhagavanatma mayaya Shambandham cha moksham cha
Bhagavanatma Maya
Eka, one. Śrūyate, creates. Bhutani, different varieties of living entities. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atma Mayaya, by his personal potencies. Cha, and Moksham, the liberated life. Cha, also. Sukham, happiness. Dukkam, distresses. Cha, and Nishkalaha, not affected by material qualities. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one, unaffected by the conditions of the material world. He creates all the conditioned souls by his own personal potency. Because of being contaminated by the material energy, the living entity is put into ignorance and thus into different conditions of bondage. Sometimes by knowledge, the living entity is given liberation. In Sattva Guna and Rajaguna, he is subjected to happiness and distress. Purport. The question may be raised, why the living entities are situated in different conditions and who has arranged this? The answer is that it has been done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead without anyone's help. The Lord has his own energies, parāsya, śaktir, vividhaiva, śrūyate, and one of them, namely the external energy, creates the material world and the varieties of happiness and distress for the conditioned souls under the supervision of the Lord. The material world consists of three modes of material nature: Sattva-guna, Rajaguna, and Tamaguna. By Sattva-guna, the Lord maintains the material world. By Rajaguna, he creates it, and by Tamaguna, he annihilates it. After the varieties of living entities are created, they are subjected to happiness and distress according to their association. When they are in Sattva-guna, the mode of goodness, they feel happiness. When in Rajaguna, they are distressed. And when in Tamaguna, they have no sense of what to do or what is right and wrong. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble respectful obeisances unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, here is King Chitraketu speaking to Mother Parvati. She cursed him because of small mistakes he made. He was already liberated soul when this happened. He was self-realized. He had darshan of the Supreme Lord, Sankarshan. So he had a full realization of the spiritual Siddhanta, or absolute truth. So the reason that she cursed him, he made a joke, you know. He was flying on his Biman airplane, you know, chanting the glories of the Lord and going all over the universe. And so happened, he saw Lord Shiva instructing great sages, but he had his wife sitting on in his lap while doing so. It's not like a common thing. You give a class with your wife on your lap, you know. It's not common thing to do. Of course, Lord Shiva was above all this rules, regulation. He's transcendental. But, you know, being in a good sense of humor, Chitraketu Maharaj, she made the joke that, Lord Shiva, you are very famous for controlling your senses. You know the story that that after Lord Shiva lost his wife Sati, he decided to remain brahmachari, he entered into meditation, and like that. And she was reborn as Parvati. So demigod pleaded her to please marry Lord Shiva because they needed a commander-in-chief to fight the demons, and only a son from Lord Shiva will be able to direct them in fighting the demons. So wake him from his trance, do something, So Parvati was trying to wake up Shiva by dancing and singing and so many things. Finally, when nothing worked, she touched his genitals. But Shiva being, self-controlled, he didn't get agitated at all. Kamadeva appeared there to help her, and he was throwing arrows of Cupid at Lord Shiva. Shiva became so angry, he opened his third eye and looked at Kamadev. He made him ashes. Just by looking at him, he made into ashes. Yeah, nobody. Anyway, but he was reborn again in Dwarka, Kamadev, as Pradyumna. Now, it's not like Pradyumna as Kamadev, rather Kamadev is an expansion of Pradyumna. And when Pradyumna was born, a demon kidnapped him and threw him in the middle of the ocean. A big fish swallowed him up. Some fishermen caught that fish and took it to one palace of a demon. They eat fish. Demons usually eat fish. You can't say that nowadays, everybody eat fish. But that time, not everybody ate fish. So anyway, when the cook opened the belly, there was a small baby there. So there was a girl working in that kitchen, and she took care of him, washed him and dressed him, and nicely, motherly way. But the little baby grew up very fast. In a few days, he was young man, beautiful young man, and she felt conjugal attraction to him. So he was asking, first you show me motherly love, now is conjugal love. This is contradiction. She said, well, I was your wife in a past life. When you was Kamadev, I was your wife, so it's natural for me to feel attraction for you, like that. Anyway, so being that the case, Shiva is very famous as self-controlled, but he was defeated by Lord Vishnu because he asked Lord Vishnu to show him his Mohini Murti. And Vishnu said, are you sure you want to see that form? Even you can be bewildered. No, he was not there when that happened. When Mohini Murti appeared to bewilder the demons, he was not there. He just swallowed the poison and left to his abode, Kailash. But the other, they saw that, so he heard about it. He was curious. He wanted to know, to see about Mohini Murti. So, okay, you are my dear devotee. I'm going to please you. And Vishnu took the Mohini form and was playing with the ball, Imagine, Vishnu becoming a beautiful woman. Who can be more beautiful than that? So Shiva became attracted and was chasing after her. In front of his wife. His wife was there right next to him, Parvati. Without any shame, he was chasing after her. And he discharged semen on the way. He tried to grab her, but she, some or other, get herself free from his arms. But he was so agitated and those semen became mines of gold and silver, it is said. All this, you can read Bhagavatam, all these details are given there very nicely. So Shiva was very proud that he had such a master that even bewildered him. Of course, he was not bewildered by Mahamaya, but rather Yoga Maya. Because the form of the Lord is not material, it's transcendental. So his defeat, and especially Mohini Murti, when being chased by him, she purposely pass through the ashram of great sages, so they will see that even Shiva was, so they will be more careful, they will be more attentive, not to be bewildered by the material external energy. So powerful energy can bewilder anyone. Prabhupada said, Maya is very powerful and we are very weak. And the only way to overcome it, if we fully surrender to Krishna and He give us shelter, then is the only way to overcome this Maya. There is no other way to overcome this powerful energy of the Lord. And it's very interesting that Chitraketu is addressing Parvati as mother, mother. He said, mother can bless the child or curse the child. It's for the child, both are coming from mother, or all of blessings. Anything come from mother is blessing. And may look bad, curse. But the reason is, when Mahavishnu glance at material nature and inject the living entities into it, that glance is called Shambhu, Lord Shiva. And Parvati, Durga, Mata is the material energy personified. So that's why it is said that Shiva is the father of all living entities. And his wife, Durga or Parvati, is the mother, because she gives the form, the material forms of the living entity. And Shambhu, is the glance of Mahavishnu, so the father. But spiritually speaking, we are part and parcel of Krishna, eternal servant of Krishna. That's our eternal position. This is the material side of the living entities, taking birth in this material world. So the three modes of nature always work, to bewilder the poor living entities in this world. When they are in goodness, they feel happiness, A mode of goodness means you are philosopher, you are, vegetarian, vegan, whatever. You try to be pious, all these things, See God in nature, like that. That's the mode of goodness. A mode of passion means very eager to enjoy the material energy, material world. Accumulating money, enjoying the senses. That's the mode of passion. You feel some happiness and then you feel a lot of distress. It is explained in the Bhagavad Gita that in the mode of goodness, austerity may look at the beginning like painful, but end up being very blissful. And in the mode of passion, beginning so enjoyable and end up in misery. Like, for example, drugs. When people start taking drugs at the beginning, they feel so, nice, Such a nice trip I'm having, wow, it's bliss. I mean, one devotee told me he left Krishna consciousness, but he also came back later. But when he left, he fell into heroin. He was injecting himself heroin. And at the beginning, he was thanking Krishna. Krishna, thank you for allowing me to do this heroin, because it's like, wow, it's like heaven, heavenly planet or something, But then, and end up in full misery. After a few months, he wake up shaking. He will inject himself with heroin just to calm the shaking of his body. That's all. There was no more bliss or any kind of that. It's all illusion. It's all madness. So that's the mode of passion. Beginning joyful, but end up miserable. And in ignorance, the person doesn't know what to do or not to do, Completely confused, Totally confused. So anyway, but Chitraketu was above the three modes of nature. He was a pure devotee of the Lord. So his reaction to being cursed was perfect. He was perfect. He understood perfectly everything. He said, curse or blessing in this world is like the waves of the ocean. They come and go. Nothing is permanent in this world. Nothing is forever. So why should be affected by something temporary? It's not gonna last forever, no? And after all, you are not guilty, I'm also not guilty of this happened. This happened by destiny. It's something we have to learn from, you know. Well, this, I mean, what Chitraketu said to Shiva from his airplane, that you are very famous of being controlling the sense, but you are behaving like a mundane person attached to his wife. That's very, 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 you know, amazing. He was making a joke. And of course, Shiva just smiled, you know. The other sages, they also smiled. Only Parvati became angry at him. She could not take it that he was making joke at her husband, you know. Of course, it was not at all correct from the part of Chitraketu to make a joke. But both of them were liberated person. I mean, he was not, Chitraketu, he was not conditioned soul. And, you know, and the sages understood, he didn't make any offense. If you would have done an offense to Shiva by saying so, they would have raised up the sages and chastised him. But that didn't happen because they understood. Two liberated souls just joking between themselves. But Parvati didn't take it that way. This is offending my husband. You think yourself, you know, become a demon. She could seem to become a demon. Of course, he was born as demon, but he maintained his devotee. He didn't lose his devotee mentality. The same thing happened with Bharat Maharaj. He had to be born as a deer because he became attached to a deer. And although he was in the body of a deer, he still remained Krishna conscious. By Krishna's mercy, he didn't forget his past life. So in the same way, although Chitraketu had to take a birth as a demon, what was the name of the demon? Vritrasura. He remained Krishna conscious. And he was fighting Indra. He was encouraging Indra to kill him. He was giving advice, why you're not fighting with full strength, you know. Do what you have to do. And finally Indra defeated him, Vritrasura. But what was the outcome? Vritrasura went back to Vaikuntha and Indra remained in the material world. So who was the winner? Who was the loser? It's all relative in this world if we see it from that relative point of view. But from the spiritual point of view, things are different. Of what is apparent, what looks apparently, you know, to us. So here Chitraketu is telling Mother Parvati that as the Supreme Lord is not affected by the material energy, his pure devotee also not affected by it, by his mercy, no? So he create. Finally, it is Krishna who creates everyone. You know, of course, the soul is not created. The soul is eternal, has no beginning and no end, because we are part of Krishna. But the material bodies are created according to the three gunas. No? And one devotee recently asked me this question: what happens to the living entities after the end of the day of Brahma? Because after the life of Brahma, it is said they enter the body of Mahavishnu. But what happened to the living entity after everything, or almost everything, is destroyed by the end of the day of Brahma? I told him, actually, I read the Bhagavatam, they enter the body of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Until next day, creation begin again, and they take the same form, same shape they had previously before dissolution. They continue their karma. So that means the living entity, or all varieties of living entity, appear simultaneously. No? Not like Darwin theory, evolution from the lowest of the lowest thing, you know, to the higher. That doesn't make sense. A rock cannot create an ant. It is from up to down, not from down to up, the way creation happens. Anyway, yesterday I was giving, lecture at the home of family who are scientists actually. They're scientists. And I met one man who's PhD in science and everything. And we discussed all these things, about Darwin's evolution and Big Bang and all these things. And they appreciated what Prabhupada say about all this subject. You know what Prabhupada said about the Big Bang? When he was told about it? Prabhupada laughed. He told the devotees, well, when the Big Bang happened, the scientists were not there. So how they can know for sure what really happened? They just can't speculate. Maybe, perhaps, could have been, probably. And Prabhupada said, that's not science. That's just mental speculation. But they now force the children in the school to learn Darwin theory. They have to accept it. Otherwise, they will not get good, result in their exam. They have to agree that yes. And the Big Bang both, they have to agree. I mean, a few years ago, I was in Argentina, and one lady devotee came to me, asked me to please talk to my 11-year daughter. She's bewildered because I tell her one thing at home. She heard something at home, at the temple, and at school they tell her something completely different. So please advise her, speak to her. So I had to speak with the girl like 1 hour, And then I told her, who has more logic, common sense, your teacher or me? She said, no, you are more logical what you're saying, Because it's a common sense thing, I mean to say, it is more dreamy-like or what you fairy tales to believe that there is no controller, everything happened by chance. Matter exploded and went to form planets without anybody's intervention. Just they came all planet round shape. Why some planet came different shapes, elongated or like that. And the distance Earth from the sun is perfect distance. Will not burn it, not freeze it. And nobody decided that, just by chance. So that's more fantasy than to believe there is a controller behind the universe. It's make more logic. It's more common sense. So in this way we can defeat all these atheistic ideas of the universe by using common sense, logic, arguments like that. So anyway, it's a great challenge, Atheism is increasing day by day because they are using, schools, university to convince students about this idea of non-God. And a lot of young people are being bewildered by these ideas, thinking it is science. That God's religion is for the less intelligent people, like that. They think like that, unfortunately. So that's good. We are giving these people the opportunity to read these books so they can awaken up, to understand that all these ideas are mistaken. Not only that, even if some scientist discovers something contradicting the Darwin evolution or Big Bang, he will be banished from the science community. He will be rejected. He will be, blackmailed, whatever. You have a mafia, actually. That is true. I mean, I've read stories like that. Some scientists who made some discovery wanted to show it. It's real. Here is the proof. It was not allowed. Anything that contradicts their established idea is not accepted. It's like a fanatical religion, my way or the highway. So it's a great challenge, It's a great challenge. And fortunately, devotees know how to present Krishna consciousness in a scientific way also, Like Dutta Karma Prabhu, the books, Forbidden Archaeology. People are starting questioning, asking questions about this. Start having doubt, No? I remember once I was distributing books. I met a group of Christians. Before they tried to preach to me, but I finally preached to them. And I, of course, I told them, okay, that's good to be Christian, but be good Christians. Why you're disobeying The 10 Commandments. Which commandment? We should not kill. No, but that refer only to human. God will have said, do not murder, Killing is all kind of killing. And also besides that, in Romans 14:21, it is very clearly said, it is good not to eat meat or drink wine. It's very clearly said there. And they opened their Bible and found it. And they start arguing between themselves. Some group, he's right. No, he's not right. I left them arguing with themselves. I put the seed of doubt in their mind, that something is not right in their way of understanding their own religion, So it's good to shake them a little bit, We have to understand Krishna consciousness is a great challenge, for ourselves and for others too. And if we are really understood the philosophy, what is the next step? To share it with others. The more you give it, the more you get. That's the way it works. The more you preach about it, the more realization you will get. That's the way it works. You just can't keep it for yourself and don't tell anybody about it. And with due time, you even forget about it. It becomes only theoretical, So it's very important. All right, so I'm going to stop here. If you have any comment, question, please do. We have a mic, extra mic to pass around. Yes. Yes, Bhakta Joseph.
Good morning. You talked about different degrees of happiness and distress. So what would be an extreme degree of happiness and extreme degree of distress in a negative way?
Of course, extreme happiness will be heavenly planets with the demigods enjoying, heavenly girls and some are rasa, that's why, okay. And extreme distress will be hellish planet. There's a lot of suffering, extreme suffering. So these dualities of the material world, extreme happiness, extreme distress, are temporary. They're not eternal. They're not forever. So why to look for something that's going to end? Intelligence will find eternal happiness, everlasting, without side effects. The side effect of material happiness, distress. The same amount you try to get material happiness, at the same amount you are going to get distress. Because this is the duality of this world. But if you look for spiritual happiness through devotional service, there is no side effect, no contradictions there.
No side effects. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for a wonderful class today. Usually Bhadranaran Swami gives class on Sunday, so it's so nice that we have another Maharaj holding the torch. Thank you for visiting. It's been a while. We've missed you. Thank you. That was a wonderful class. I have two questions. One, something you said, and one was actually a question we were unable to answer from Bhagavatam class a few days ago. You were talking about evolution coming from the top down,
Yes.
the down up. So it's because we were spiritually perfect, and then we've descended into these lower spiritual forms? Or can you explain what you meant by that?
What I mean by that is that Krishna gives Brahma all the ingredients of material energy to create. So from up to down means there is a creator who creates the lower species of life. Lower species of life can't create higher species of life by themselves. So we do believe in evolution in the sense that from lower form of body you can rise to a higher form of body. The soul is transmigrating from lower form to higher form, not the body transforming themselves. The reason Darwin didn't mention the soul when he spoke about evolution is because he was from Christian religion. And in Christian religion, don't believe that the animals have souls. So that's why he didn't mention souls. And that's why he philosophy became atheistic. But we know from the Shastra that the soul are transmigrating. from lower body to higher body, but who created everything in the first place? That's coming from the Supreme. So that's the meaning of from up to down.
We had was the verse that you were talking about too, where Chitraketu is saying, "My dear mother," says, "with folded hands together I accept this curse.
Yes.
I do not mind the curse for happiness and stress." But there's a part in the purport that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
For Prabhupada saying, Chitraketu knew that he had not committed any offense at the lotus feet of the Lord, Shiva,
Yes.
or the goddess Parvati. So she reacted to what was offensive and then cursed him, but it's saying he knew he didn't make an offense?
Yeah, he knew because that was not his intention.
He was just joking?
I mean, pure devotees, they never offend anybody, because they respect every soul, they see everybody as part of Krishna. They will never offend anybody. Pure devotee never offend anybody. For example, Srila Prabhupada on his deathbed, he was asking forgiveness from his godbrothers for, he was very humbly saying, "I became proud because of my success and I maybe offended you." But they all have said, "No, you never offended us. You did say everything for preaching, So like that, so it's natural that, but Chitraketu was not in his deathbed, He was fully awake and fully conscious. And he knew he didn't make offense. The reason he knew that he didn't make offense because Shiva didn't react. The sages didn't react to it. If he really made offense, they will have said, "You made offense." He will have accepted. But since there was no such thing happening, he knew there was no offense. But still, you are my mother. I can accept from you anything is coming from you. I agree. And Lord Shiva actually later told Parvati, "Today you was defeated by a devotee." Like that. Because when you accept, your mother blessing or curse, in that sense she's being defeated because you don't become angry. You're not trying to say, "No, that's wrong." Once a devotee asked me this question. What happens if somebody come to me, some other devotee, and start telling me all my faults, all my, shortcoming and all this? What should I do? I defend myself. I said, no, you should thank him. Thank you for pointing my faults. I have much more, but thank you, at least you mentioned some, so I can rectify them. Then if you say like that, you disarm the person. Understand? For quarreling, you need two. For tango, you need two for tango. If one of the party doesn't want to argue, fight, then there is defeat. The person is defeated. Yeah, that's the same. Two to be in tango. Okay. So that's the way of things, Yes.
Just one note. When Parvati was making the curse, she addressed him as my son.
Yes.
So the relationship was already there. So he says mother, so the whole thing.
Yeah, she accepted. Okay, you're saying mother, I'm saying son. It's a natural thing. Because she is the mother of all living entity in the sense she's the material energy personified. And she has given all the material bodies to everyone. So she's the mother of everyone, in that sense.
Yeah. Oh. Also, it's mentioned that it's something like what happened with Arjun. Just think that Arjun fell into Maya is superficial. He was put into Maya, right? It was Krishna's plan so that Krishna could speak. The same thing happened here. It says that, I think it's in the purport, that Vishnu wanted Chitraketu to come back sooner.
Yes.
So this is his own plan.
The same thing happened to Maharaj Parikshit also. He was cursed. Exactly. But there was a reason behind it. Krishna wanted to call him back to God as soon as possible. He was feeling separation from his pure devotee. And also the Bhagavatam need to be recited. So same thing with Chitraketu, Krishna's plan, to call him back to Vaikuntha. So, yes.
Hare Krishna. So did Mother Parvati made an offense here?
No, she didn't make any offense. He himself, Chitraketu, is saying, "You didn't make offense, I didn't make an offense." this happens by destiny. It has to happen. It is finally Krishna's supreme control, no? The cause of all causes. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam is the cause of all causes. Nothing happened, not even a blade of grass can move without the will of the Lord. All right. Thank you everyone for coming to the Bhagavatam class. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.